put the hearts right back into the bucket where these are. So first of all, realize now we're dealing with a four-legged beast here, and we're two-legged, right? So this would be the correct orientation, so that the heart, you can see peeking out down there, is directed ventrally, and most of the lung field now is dorsal, right? And the neck would prop up this direction. You'd have larynx right here. So basically the cut that was made at the slaughter plant was just below the level of the larynx. So we get to see just the opening into the trachea as it goes. But where we're really interested in is human beings, right? So the orientation would be like this, right? So this would be posterior, this would be anterior, right? You'd see the apex of the heart peeking more toward the breastbone, right? And again, notice, look how many different lobes there are here, accessory lobes, that kind of stuff, right? So your lobe memorization on the human side doesn't apply to this necessarily. What's this muscle right here?
That's the diaphragm.
Yeah, everybody oriented here? Right now, most of it's been cut away, of course, at the slaughter plant, but this thing would have, it's just a fan, really a thin fan. That would be aponeurosis right there. So this is the muscle tissue, and rather than the muscle connecting all the way to a bone somewhere, part of it is simply connected to connective tissue, right, which ties to something else. And that thing, of course, would have spanned the entire posterior end of the thoracic cavity, right, partly cut away there. And
Is the yellow all adipose too?
all adipose. Look at this. Okay, where is the heart even? Can't even see it, right? Totally packed with fat. Now, most sheep in this country we slaughter at 4 to 6 months of age, something like that. As mutton gets older and older, it gets stronger and stronger. In our market, we don't typically like that. Leg of lamb and lamb chops that you would buy off at the store, those are young animals. So the odds are these came from slaughter weight or slaughter age animals, which are young, and yet look at all the adipose tissue that's deposited here. So this would not have been an overweight animal in most cases. But the heart's a huge consumer of energy, so we tend to pack it there. So imagine now a human being who's 450 pounds, extremely obese,
Right.
and how much fat, just pure adipose tissue would be in that region. How much trouble they might have breathing, problems with the heart, that kind of stuff, right? And notice I got a membrane right there that all this fat is associated with. I'll start to peel that away. So now I've cut into the cavity itself, right? So the heart in the thoracic cavity has its own pericardial sac that it sits in. Right? Now this one's been cut away over here so that you don't see it as well, but again you get that orientation. So, and the only other things you have here, again, really are just trachea. You can see the tracheal rings, both internally and externally there as it goes down. And then you all will want to make some deeper cuts in the lung field down in here and just, again, get an idea of the pattern of how the bronchioles divide, get smaller and smaller, and just see the internal lung tissue. Occasionally we'll find some pathology in these things. Most of the time these days in slaughter plants, though, the USDA inspectors are pretty hardcore. If they find much pathology, pneumonia and that kind of stuff, they'll condemn the carcass so it doesn't make it any further down the line. So anymore I don't hardly see much respiratory disease in these. Okay, so all you really need to do, first thing you need to do is remove the heart and try to stay as close to the edge or the base of the lung field as you can. If you do that, you'll keep most of the great vessels like the aorta, vena cava, that kind of stuff intact. So when you do your heart dissection on Thursday, the more of those big blood vessels you have intact, the easier it will be for you to see those later on. Right, so on both of these, and in a third one, if you guys want to divide up into three, get an idea of just the general orientation, where everything is, and then just do a heartectomy, essentially. Right? Just remove this thing, and then put your hearts back in that bucket, and we'll get those back out. And we've got additional hearts, too. We've got some others that have already been dissected away, so you can do a couple of three on Thursday if you need to. And then once you've removed the heart, again, it's up to you. This is just one of those things. Be careful here. Now, the lungs will contain fluid, right? So if you're moving the specimen around, do so slowly and try to keep it within here, so otherwise it'll splash on you. There's just no way to get these things to drain out completely. I'd say just, bisect the trachea, follow it down, open it up, maybe follow it down to where it branches, cut into that, follow some branches down in here, cut through the lungs themselves, get an idea of the internal circulation. Again, it's not a complex dissection. I have a pretty good idea what's going on here. Right? Got gloves, everything up here. If you want to do a third group,